President Obama and new Speaker of the House John Boehner share thoughts about moving the country forward.
And Jerry Brown is celebrating tonight after winning the governor's race. Find out what plans he has for California.
And why Democrats from California seem to be faring better than other Democrats from around the country. Don't go anywhere. Annenberg TV News is next.
Gubernatorial candidate Meg Whitman faces a lawsuit from a former housekeeper. Find out what accusations the housekeeper is making.
And Barbara Boxer and Carly Fiorina face off today for the second time. Find out what they had to say about the economy.
Do red light cameras stop you from running red lights? We'll tell you why they may not be working and what the city plans to do about it.
Don't go anywhere. Annenberg TV News is next. 3 weather records were broken in Los Angeles today. Find out which ones they are.
DWP is working tonight to restore power to the 2,500 people still without it.
And the Supreme Court hears arguments from the family of a fallen soldier whose funeral was interrupted by protesters.
Annenberg TV News is next.
ATVN's Kristen Steach is live in downtown Los Angeles with more on how the family of Beresford Redmond plans to keep fighting for justice. Kristen, how's it going out there?
Thanks, Robbie. I'm at the federal courthouse here in downtown LA. Beresford Redmond is currently in custody here in Los Angeles. If he is extradited, he will stand trial for the murder of his wife, Monica, who was found dead in Mexico back in April. Monica's sister says she believes this is only the beginning.
Let's take it over to our weather anchor to give us the rundown. Our very own Megan Tellis is live outside of Levy Library right now to give us an update. Megan, what's going on out there?
Thanks so much, Robbie. You're absolutely right. The records were changed today. If you look back to the date, which means October 20th, 1979, roughly 30 years ago, there was a record rainfall of 0.14 inches. Well, today, 0.57 inches of rain fell at the Long Beach Airport, changing the records up a bit. So I'll have more on the forecast and to let you know what the weather's like outside tonight and through the weekend. Robbie and Heather, back to you.
The students and families of Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks are mourning the death of the 16-year-old junior who was hit by a car yesterday while jogging. Flowers mark the spot where Connor Lynch attempted to cross the street on his way to cross-country practice. An 18-year-old driver hit Connor and then drove off before turning herself in. Connor was pronounced dead at the scene, and family and friends and teachers say they will always remember his smile.
Kind of quiet, but always pleasant, very polite. He was a lifeguard at the school this summer, and that's the last time I saw him in June.
The school held a campus-wide prayer service for Connor today. The counselors will continue to offer support to students.
The LAPD and Marine Corps are mourning the loss of one of their most promising young men today. Family, friends, and colleagues of Joshua Collins shared their memories of the fallen soldier and LAPD officer at a memorial mass downtown.
LAPD officers and Marines led the procession into the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels in downtown LA this morning as Officer Joshua Collins' family looked on. Dozens of LAPD officers and Marines came to honor Collins. His longtime friend and comrade in the Marine Corps described Collins as a family man.
Watching Josh up there with his family and his brothers, you could just see he was at his best, being a big brother and a son. That was what he loved to do.
The 28-year-old Simi Valley native was killed by a roadside bomb in Afghanistan last month, just 2 days before he was set to come home. Collins had served 2 tours of duty in Iraq and was serving his second tour in Afghanistan. His uncle read a statement on behalf of Collins' father. He recounted the first day he took his son to preschool.
He ran and jumped on the fence and hung on to it. He looked at me and said, "Dad, don't leave me." I didn't want to leave him then, but I had to let him go.
Collins was an explosives technician in the Marine Corps. The LAPD says they had plans for Collins once he returned from Afghanistan.
You know, it's sad to see somebody gone, especially somebody as talented as him. He spent a lot of time over there, did a lot of good work. And I know we were going to, move him into the bomb squad just because of the expertise that he was bringing to the department.
And you can find out how to make a donation on Officer Collins' behalf at our website. Head over to atvn.org and click on Link Up.
A convicted sex offender who raped 2 girls back in 1985 may be released from state prison tonight. ATVN's Maren Austin talked to Orange County residents about his possible move to their neighborhood.
Residents in this Orange County neighborhood are concerned that Lawrence Joseph Brown will be heading here when he's released from prison. The last time the convicted child rapist was given a chance at parole, he headed to Tustin.
We believe he poses a great danger to the community, and we believe he's the boogeyman. He's the parents' worst nightmare.
And a nightmare that she says is one department's fault.
The Department of Mental Health, unbeknownst to all of us, is an extreme mystery, have arbitrarily decided that Mr. Brown is safe to return to the community.
The Department of Mental Health said in a statement to ATVN that their office utilizes licensed psychologists or psychiatrists to conduct evaluations of individuals to see if they meet the legal criteria of a sexually violent predator. The Orange County District Attorney says Brown claims he's innocent. He filed a request with the Orange County prosecutors in March, asking them to re-examine evidence. But meanwhile, Tustin police say they expect the 52-year-old to spend time at this house off of Redville Avenue.
It's terrible. I've been here 36 years. We have a lot of kids in the neighborhood here, a church behind us with a school.
The Red Hill Lutheran School behind me is one of 6 schools that's within a mile of Brown's girlfriend's house. And the Tustin Police Department released this flyer informing community members of Brown's possible arrival.
He's too close to too many children, and I just think it's an outrage that they would let him be so close.
So close that Bryson plans to start driving her children to school if Brown moves to Tustin. Maren Austin, ATVN.
Brown has 5 days to notify the National Sex Offender Registry on where he will be living. To access the registry, just go to atvn.org and click on Link Up. The race for California's governor heats up as Republican candidate Meg Whitman faces allegations. She's been accused of employing an illegal immigrant for nearly a decade. Whitman's former housekeeper Nikki Diaz filed a lawsuit against Whitman.
Own decisions every day, and they are much more difficult.
Whitman's former maid of 9 years, Nikki Diaz, filed a claim for unpaid wages and said when she let her boss know that she was an illegal immigrant, Whitman wanted nothing to do with her.
Y a partir de ahora, tú no me conoces y yo no te conozco. Nunca me has visto y nunca te he visto. ¿Me entiendes?
In response, Whitman says she and her husband had no idea Diaz was illegal until she told them. While her Democratic rival, Jerry Brown, said in a statement, Nikki Diaz has a compelling story, and it is our hope that she will be treated with respect and dignity as the story unfolds. Diaz attorney Gloria Allred said Meg Whitman needs to respect housekeepers and not take advantage of them.
I think that Nikki is the Rosa Parks of housekeepers and of Latina women who are in her position.
But with Allred previously representing a stunt woman who filed a sexual assault claim against now Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 2003 campaign, some voters think it's a setup.
I think that it's a scam given the time that it's being presented. I'm still undecided, but I think that plenty of people are in the same position that she is. You don't know if the documentation that you get from your workers is true or not, so we'll see how it pans out.
One, Professor Robert Suro, an expert in immigration and politics, believes since the race is so close, the suit is going to be a distraction for Whitman.
It could help Brown if Whitman has to spend a couple of days defending herself. That alone will help him.
Meg Whitman reached a settlement with her former housekeeper today. The former Republican gubernatorial candidate agreed to pay Nikki Diaz-Santillan $5,500 in past due wages.
Nikki told Ms. Whitman that with the additional duties she was working more than the 15 hours a week in order to do the job. But she alleges that she was told that she would still only be paid for 15 hours a week.
Allred also says she and Santillan are not going to proceed with their expense reimbursement claim. They originally wanted Whitman to pay Santillan for her traveling expenses. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger was in Los Angeles today to discuss Assembly Bill 12, which extends foster care benefits through age 21.
this bill, AB 12, is so important because we take one of the most significant steps yet to ensure that our foster youth thrive and lead productive lives.
The bill allows California to replace the current $52 million spent on foster care with federal funding. Roughly $37 million of the savings will be placed back into the growing foster care system.
If this bill wasn't signed today, there's so many youth who won't be able to go to college, maybe who don't even have jobs in the economy now. Like, they'll be out on the street.
The Hollywood community is still in shock tonight, less than 24 hours after longtime press agent and Oscar strategist Ronnie Chasen was murdered in the posh neighborhood around Sunset Boulevard.
We're still conducting our investigation. It's a wide-open investigation at this point, and we're currently looking for any sort of tips and leads. We're asking for the public's assistance. There is a $100,000 reward being offered by the Palm Springs International Award Gala and Film Festival. And we're asking anybody who might have any information to contact the Beverly Hills Police Department Detective Hotline.
The Pasadena School District is planning on closing 2 elementary schools because of cuts in state funding. Some school officials say shutting down Burbank and Loma Alta elementary schools will benefit students.
Our students will be assigned to two different schools. One has an API of 814, I believe, and the other one is 847. So it's a higher API.
While there might be benefits for students, teachers of the Pasadena schools that are closing say they will not reap the same benefits.
One of the teachers is still having difficulty dealing with the fact that the previous school was closed, and now she's here at another site having to go through it again, and some of those emotions have been stirred up again for her. And so it's difficult for her right now just dealing with it.
Both the Burbank and Loma Alma elementary schools are set to be shut at the end of the school year. Many were surprised to wake up to rain and wet road conditions this morning after last week's heat wave. ATVN's Maren Austin found out why there's such a drastic change in the weather.
Mother Nature surprised us all today with a few rainstorms. A big difference from last week's 113-degree record-breaking heat.
I'd prefer the rain probably, in terms of if it's 113 degrees, it's a little too hot for me.
While some were pleasantly surprised by the 59-degree day, others are a bit concerned.
The weather is very well. Maybe 2012 will come in now.
The end of the world may not be on its way, but rainstorms and sunshine are both in the forecast. The reason for the drastic changes, both hot and cold air in the atmosphere.
When you have contrasting air masses, you have quite a bit of instability in the atmosphere because you have varying degrees of difference in the air masses.
Since last week, the temperature has dropped nearly 60 degrees, and it's raining out here. Los Angelinos only had a week to ditch their sandals and T-shirts for a jacket and an umbrella.
I kind of enjoy the rain because it's a good excuse to stay inside and hang out with some friends.
I like days like this. I think they're pretty and it's nice outside.
The rainy weather may be popular among pedestrians, especially those who are prepared.
These are Vibram shoes, and basically they separate all your toes.
But it was a rough day out there on the roads. SigAlert.com reported dozens of traffic accidents throughout the day, making it a little more difficult than usual for drivers to get from one place to another. And the rain making it a little more challenging for pedestrians to get places too. Maren Austin, ATVN.